Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, of course, continuing on with the Star Trek marathon. Now we've come to where things kind of went downhill for the Next Generation crew and for their next Star Trek film, and the last one in the 1990s, and that being, of course, Insurrection. Okay, to be honest, I actually love Insurrection. I actually enjoy it. It's a fun film, and, I consider this film, because this was after First Contact. Where in First Contact, it was great, but, also things were a bit dark, you know what I'm saying? But in this, the next Star Trek film after that, Insurrection, things were a bit lightened, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was good. That's one good thing, and, not that much, a little less darkness going on in Insurrection, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's that bad, and I think the story is okay, and it's never one of those, just like, say, what happened in the Next Generation show itself, where, relocating to another planet. So, but this time, you know what, because, I don't know, people complaining about, like, what was going on, even Patrick Stewart saying that if he was captain and, in Star Trek, he would have moved them. But here's the thing. I look at this. During Captain Picard and the crew's experience trying to do that in the show, they've come to realize, and throughout those episodes, and when it comes to this movie, they realize that, you know what, this just won't work, and it's wrong to be doing this. So if you get my point, like, that's how I see it. So, and I'm sure there's other people that would see it that way too. I like, because I love, the music is great, once again, by the late, great, legendary composer, Jerry Goldsmith, and Data, who's one of the first characters we see in the film, because at one point he malfunctions, and, the Enterprise, because, there's like a ceremony going on or something, and Worf making his way back from Deep Space Nine onto the Enterprise E, especially after the events of Deep Space Nine, where his wife Dax got killed. So they were this close to mentioning that, but they didn't. Because, Rick Berman said that, that if anybody who would only follow the movies, they wouldn't understand, like, something that was in the show. Like, for those who only follow the movies and don't follow the show. Well, I follow everything Star Trek, the movies and shows, and the Eugene Chafor, yeah, that sequence, and Admiral Dalty, now who is Admiral Dalty? I forget. Gallatin? Is that right? Or, no, Admiral Adam Dalty? I want to assume, played by this is him, played by Anthony Zerbe, and Urafo, one of the captain of the Sona, played by F. Murray Abraham. And I read that, and I heard that F. Murray Abraham, that he had a fun time, with this film and his performance as Urafo. And I think this does show. And I gotta say, the Sona are not that bad. Like, they're very interesting villains, because, their history and having slaves, just, and some of the other characters like Gallatin, if I'm saying that right, like, played by Greg Henry. Now, Greg Henry, he would go on to be Peter Quill's uncle. Yeah, uncle. In Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah. So before Guardians of the Galaxy, which is something science fiction, he was in something else science fiction, which being Star Trek. So, and also because this is where at one point, like, Riker and Troy, they really start getting together. Some of the other characters, like, there's the Baku, one of the, like, two of them, like, one is Daniel Hugh Kelly. He plays Sochev, if I'm saying that right, and his son Artem, played by Michael Welch, and Anij. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Played by Donna Murphy. This is, like, kind of her and Picard get together. And, at one point, because, okay, like, two things about her character. Like, one is this, where, as, Data, as that whole sequence where, Worf and Picard are trying to capture, get Data into custody, capture him and so on. And I love that music too, as Picard and Worf, they attach their shuttle to Data's ship that he stole, I guess. I don't know from who and where. I love that music that plays then as they're like spinning down to the ground on the planet. Pretty good music. Again, Jerry Goldsmith, great. And when they finally meet the Baku, and when Data's finally fixed, like, they first ask Artem, like, where, like, they last saw the android, and I guess, like, where the android was and what they saw, I don't know, and and as Artem says, in the hills by the dam, and they make their way there, and, like, Data, like, tried to find evidence, and, like, does something with the dam, and, like, we see, like, something is cloaked out in the water, and then, they make their way, and apparently it's a ship, like, a cloaked ship that the Sona were going to use to transport, the Sona in, because of a holographic program, showing a holographic version of the Baku's village. And at one point, like, her, Donna Murphy gets thrown into the water, and at one point she says she can't swim, and at one point, and later on, like, Picard asks about why she didn't know how to swim, and 300 years and just haven't learned or catched up, and it's like, you had the whole time to learn how to swim. Oh, brother. Oh well. But anyways, and also trying to remember. Oh yeah, and even it had some funny moments too. Data, like, being a flotation device, as he rises up. That's pretty funny. And Worf, the gorge, and Riker, who shaves in this movie, and, like, smooth as an android's bottom, Data? And, I beg your pardon, sir, says Data. And when Data asks Riker, Commander, may I? And feels his face, like, and just, like, yeah, I know that my dad if my dad were here, like, he would mention this too, and, like, he would laugh. So, it is a funny scene as well. And also that part where Picard, doing, dancing to a mambo. I like that bit of music that plays. And one sequence, like, is where, again, because, like, as I mentioned, like, where Picard asks Donna Murphy's character about, swimming, and Picard learning about the Baku, and at one point when the morning starts, the sunrise, Picard runs up to Geordi. He meets up with Geordi, and I think it's a quite emotional scene, because this is where Geordi does have vision. Throughout Star Trek, like, the Next Generation movies, because Geordi was blind, and at one point he got vision, and he said to Picard that he had never seen a sunrise before, and this was the moment where he finally got to see a sunrise. I think it is a very touching scene, and you know what, with Picard there, and just, being right there next with Geordi, because, not just, Picard, not just being a captain to the crew, but just, I guess, being kind of like, am I right when I say it's like kind of like a father to the crew and so on, and just being their friend? Something like that, but just, And that whole sequence where Admiral Doughty and Picard are talking, and Picard, is disobeying orders, and he is going to do whatever it takes to save the Baku. Data, Troy, Crusher, and Worf are joining Picard, while Riker and Geordi, they stay behind on the Enterprise to take on the Sona. And it was pretty cool, like, going back and forth between those sequences with, Picard and the Baku people, and the Enterprise E in space, and, once again, like with, say, Star Trek 5, I don't know, like, is it me, or, like, both Star Trek Insurrection and Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, share quite a bit in common, because they were those two movies that really kind of went downhill at one point, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just didn't do so well. I don't know, but, anyway, so, trying to remember. Oh, yeah, because, once again, like, just like with Star Trek V, ILM was not available to do the visual effects, and this time, it was Blue Sky Studios that did the effects. And the same studio, before they started doing computer animated films, starting with Ice Age, they were doing visual effects and such for movies. like they had done one of the Alien films that came out in the 90s. I think it was, yeah, Alien 4. And they also did, I think it was Fight Club. And then, of course, they did Star Trek Insurrection. They're okay. Like, the shots in space are great. And from what I heard, like, the visual effects, like, on the planet surface of, you know, the Baku are kind of awful. Like, the CGI hummingbird and whatever the heck it is, it's like a, like, alien kind of chipmunk, you know what I'm saying? Oh well, but yeah, but they still look okay. So yeah, maybe at times they did use, like, say, the Enterprise E model for some certain shots, like the first shot we see of the Enterprise E. That's what I want to assume. But anyways, so there's that, and, like, you know, at one point, like, Picard and Donna Murphy are captured because of those like drones or whatever they are. Like, they shoot darts at the Baku people, and at one point Artem'S father was captured as well. I guess at first, like, probably transported, and Data and Artem, like, they kind of get together as well, like, you know, and Artem telling Data, like, you know, you should learn how to play. And it's like, wow, like, Artem got over that quickly of his father. Like, well, did he think at one point he was dead, or was he ensured that, you know, he was okay, he was just transported to their ship? That's what I want to assume. So, at one point, Donna Murphy, like, stops time, like, a couple of times, like, slows down time, and, you know, Picard asks her, how are you doing that? And she's like, after she blows, what are those called that you blow, and, like, the specs, like, I can't remember the name of it. Let me know in the comments. You know, she says, her response to Picard after he says, how are you doing that? And she says, no more questions. And yeah, like, how is she doing that? Well, because I guess the Baku, they have a special power. So they're powerful. I know, that's my guess. I don't know. As I said, later on, and after, at one point when, Donna Murphy's character gets injured by rocks and Picard is carrying her, you know, they get transported, you know, because of those darts that the drones shoot at them. Picard and Donna Murphy get them, and then, you know, they come face to face with Admiral Doughty and Rafu, and apparently the Sona, like Rafu and such, are the same species with the Baku, apparently. And I like this line that Rafu gives, you know, in 6 hours, every living thing in this system will be dead. So there's that. That's a pretty good line. And Admiral Doughty, I think, it realizes that, you know what, this is just bullcrap and it is over. And trying to confront Rafu, and Rafu just grabbing him and just injuring him, and then putting him on those devices in that part of the Sona ship where, you know, I guess it's like a beauty shop for them. That's what I want to assume, like their faces being stretched and touched up a bit. Well, and he does it to Admiral Doughty, but killing him, stretching his face and killing him. And I just like it when he comes back onto the bridge of the Sona ship, of his ship, like he says, Admiral Doughty will not be joining us for dinner. And Gallatin, like, he confronts Urafu about everything that's going on, and apparently, even, like, Donna Murphy told Gallatin that the woman, like, that raised Gallatin, like, still, you know, talks about him and so on. As that's what I can remember. And so, you know, Gallatin helps Picard, and Worf comes on board the Sona ship, and the Sona, Urafu and his crew are fooled at, like, something, like, glowing, like, is on their bridge, and as they are planning to launch a missile, I guess, into the Baku planet's, you know, ring, you know, and they're seeing it, but they don't realize that it happens, but it's happening on, like, where they're at, you know, a holodeck of that ship that was in the water on the planet. And that scream that Urafu gives after, like, the computer tells him, you know, unable to comply, blah, 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 and, like, you know, just, yeah. It's at that point when where Urafu just loses his crap and just gonna do whatever, you know, just loses it. Yeah, and so, like, Urafu on that one ship that's, like, what is it? Like, it has those, like, wings. I really can't remember it, but I guess planning, yeah, I think it's the same ship, yeah, to launching another missile, I want to assume, and he's on there, and, you know, Picard boards it, and, like, the computer's like, intruder alert, and, you know, Urafu trying to shoot down Picard, Worf and Gallatin, like, the other Sona crew members, they come in and attack them, and the Enterprise E, because those sequences with the Enterprise E, like, you know, in battle with the Sona, and the Enterprise E being slightly damaged, and, they make their way to the system of the planet, and, you know, at one point, because, you know, as it's passing by that shuttle, like, where Picard's in, they transport him, and leaving Urafu to be burned to death, you know, as it destroys, you know, and, like, the fire rises, so, you know, and there's at one point when, you know, the Sona ship, you know, Worf and Gallatin in control of the Sona ship, they hail the Enterprise, and I just like it because Jinx, you know, Riker and Picard say on screen. That's pretty funny. I do remember the last time they said something at the same time, Jinx, and it was in the Best of Both Worlds, where they both said, you know, come. So that was twice, you know, Jinx twice for Picard and Riker. And there are a couple of, and again, some funny moments in the film, and including, like, say, one line that was said earlier that Data heard from Troy and Crusher, you know, and he says it to Worf, have you noticed your boobs are starting to firm up? And I know my dad would be laughing at that too, like, because if he were here talking about the film with me. And then another line is from Worf when he hails the Enterprise, you know, the Sona require some oxygen and so on, you know. I believe, you know, apparently we only have a few minutes left of air. So however he said it, but that is a funny line too. And the epilogue, everybody is back to their village, and, you know, Data learning how to play, Gallatin reuniting with the woman that raised him and such, you know, emotional too. And I remember hearing about this, that originally Quark from Deep Space Nine, the Ferengi, he was supposed to make a cameo. I don't know what he was supposed to do. Maybe on a vacation or something. I really don't know. And he also had a couple of, like, alien ladies alongside with him. But, you know, I don't know why they cut that out, and why it's never been shown, like, part of the deleted scenes. And same thing goes for Benjamin Sisko's deleted cameo in First Contact. Why have we not seen them? I would like to see those deleted scenes. Oh well. Who knows? It's like we never knew the bloopers from The Next Generation until the Blu-ray of all 7 seasons were released, and we got to see the bloopers. Come on, why didn't they do the same with, like, some scenes that were never shown? You know what? There's one thing I found stupid in this film. This is the only thing I found stupid in this, and thank God it was deleted. It was in a deleted scene. That one scene, again, because at times in the movie where Riker and Troy, they were kind of flirting with one another, and they were starting to get together. They're in, like the Enterprise E's library, and in the deleted scene, like, it was kind of extended, but it didn't have to be that kind of library, you know, where you have to be quiet and such. And there was a librarian with glasses. Wow. But it didn't have to be that kind of library. Come on. What we got in the movie works, okay? It's not that kind of library. You can talk and just blah, 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 and not whisper. Jeez. But anyways... So, and some of the deleted scenes, like the alternate ending and defeat of Urafu, like him, like, slowly, you know, aging and, like, becoming younger, but basically he was being aged to death. But I don't know, like, what we got in the final film does work, and again, the ending to it, and Artem saying goodbye to Data, and Data, the way he says bye to Artem, just, he's saying, you know, bye, just like a kid, and Artem, like, telling him, like, one lesson, you know, of having fun, you know, you have to have a little fun, and blah, 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 and what Data does to Riker, just pretty funny. And, yep, they, of course, transport back to the Enterprise, and Picard, like, looking at Donna Murphy's character one last time, and as, you know, they're being transported, and, yeah, Insurrection is okay. I do enjoy this film, and I think it's fun to watch, and I don't think it's that bad, so, you know. And you guys let me know what you think of Insurrection and what you thought of my review. Leave comments and give this review a like as always. And how do I rate this? Good question. I give this, I'll give this 7 out of 10. Why not? 7 out of 10 stars for Insurrection. I do enjoy this, and yeah, there you go. So that's it. So 7 out of 10 stars for Insurrection. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Insurrection. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward. And I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And of course, the Star Trek Marathon is still continuing. And stay tuned next week for the 10th and, which being the last Star Trek film with Picard and the Enterprise E crew. And I'll be reviewing it with a friend of mine, so stay tuned for that. Take care, peace out, and make it so.